right, get all the stuff right, y'all. All right. All right. Now, since I am kind of out and about, I am going to just start with sending that transformational energy from the omic in the transformation to the cat consciousness, the feline consciousness, the female consciousness, that transformation. Let me give it out. And those of you that don't know me, my name is Big Pontiac, and this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I don't have all my cymbals and everything, all my singing bowls, so I'm going to skip that part and just get into who I am and my message to the world. Well, I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game that was created by the Hero Twins. And I'm also that one and only galactic daddy-o welcoming each and every one of the Chocolate Mountaineers to my galactic patio that reaches from Minnesota to the universe. And tonight's special beer is, again, Red Axe Ale. Owner got me another case from the factory, of course, that's not that far away in Moose Lake, Minnesota, which is not terribly far. So, and I have something that none of you have right now. I have a Minnesota Lynx pint glass. Very dirty because I drank about 2 out of it already. But you don't have this, neither do you have this beer. So pop them if you got them. And as you watch me fill up this Minnesota Lynx pint glass with this amber goodness, you can't help but just think that you are not me right now. You just wish you could just trade for me a few seconds and take that whiff, yet holding the Minnesota Lynx glass. And now, I said this before, they were bogus on this. Right now in the state, they sell 0.5. This is still 0.3, so they're a little bogus. You take a couple of these at a time. It takes about 250 milligrams to kind of get a decent buzz. So smoke them if you want them. No doubt, smoke them if you want them. So, I want to start this off. I'm going to get into this rap a little bit, which is going to be kind of somewhat bizarre, but somewhat understanding. So today, really got into deep playing pickleball. Wow, played a good 2 hours. Ran into an asshole. Saw some moves he did. He was an asshole. He asked to see my racket, and this motherfucker walks away with my racket. My racket's like $150. And I was like, in any other instance in life that a person would have took some of my shit and walked away with it, I would have beat their ass. I would have literally just like, I don't even know how to equate that, like sitting at the hood or somewhere. It was like almost, it was almost equal to motherfucker come looking, I'm at my friend's house and the motherfucker take my shit to the next yard over. Now I know it's exaggerating, wasn't that far, but I'm just saying it's like somebody took my shit and went to the house next door to show them my shit. In my younger self, I would have beat his ass. Even my older self right now, I kind of want to beat his ass. However, it's not necessary. I understood mentally where he was. And I didn't take it to heart. But it definitely was a violation. But I do want people's opinion on this. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, because even I at first hesitated on what I'm about to tell you. And so as I, again, was winding down playing pickleball, and I played against great competition. The 15-year-old boy that kicked my ass the other day, he whooped some of these older dudes' ass. Again, he seemed One-on-one, he was okay. He wasn't as strong in 4-on-4. I noticed that. I mean, he's stronger in playing one-on-one. Pickleball is 4-on-4, basically. But however, if the one-on-one tournaments, he definitely would dominate. And so played with him, played with his father, played with his brother. They're tennis players. So it's played against a lot of good players. Got a tremendous workout. I wanted to show my shoes. I wanted to show, because, you know, I play in Donovan Mitchell threes. And I just happened to look at the bottom of these shoes. I've had the shoes since last June. Yeah, about since last June. And they've been, you know, the only ones I really played with. And I looked at the shoes, how wore out they were. I was like, damn. But great shoes. So, Don Play. Hey, thank you for joining me. How are you today? I won 3,000 yesterday in MIB. Oh, outstanding. My twins won tonight, so is pickleball like tennis? I would say pickleball is a mixture between badminton, tennis, and ping pong. It's a mixture of those three: badminton, tennis, and ping pong. A lot of people that play ping pong, you can naturally slice the ball. Because if you knew how to slice the ball in ping pong, you could do the same thing in pickleball. Again, the pickleball is made like, you know, when you'd get the plastic baseball, the wiffle ball. It really is made a lot like that. Like it was really windy yesterday or Thursday night, it was super windy. And so with this wiffle ball, it can really move all kind of crazy ways. So it's really a mixture between those three, where you play on a smaller tennis court. So a lot of it is like badminton. Again, when you play badminton, everything is in the air. You know, all the hits are in the air. It has that aspect of it too. So yeah, I can swing that shot. But you know, it's about the workout. It's all about the workout. So as I played my last game, the guys was kind of a little slow about what they was going to do if they was going to play another game. And actually, I really I'd been there 2 hours. I had a great workout. And I just happened to notice earlier a father and son came. So as I was getting drinks and stuff, I noticed they were playing. And then I noticed as I was sitting there, I noticed that another father and son came and they were playing. And I was still kind of had enough energy where I could have kind of kept playing. And what I noticed was there was a young man playing by himself on the far court. Like there's 8 courts. There's 4 courts on one side, 4 courts on the other side. And there's banners between each court. You know, again, this is a $3 million complex. And, you know, to block the ball from going from one court to the other. And I'll even say, you know, I'll tell the full story to just tell you who I am. So when I was about to just go pop balls with him, I watched him. I was like, oh, this child is handicapped. Because as I watched him, and I hesitated, because I got my racket to go play with him, and I stood up for a second, and then I sat back down. I was like, oh, he's handicapped. And I sat back down, but then I thought about it, and I was like, I just like being on my feet and got a chance to interact. And so I went over there and played about 20, 25 minutes with this handicapped child. His father was playing, his father and his brother were playing with this other father-brother. And so he's kind of just left on his own. Again, couldn't harm anything. He's fenced in. And and so me and him popped balls for like 20, 25 minutes, just interacting with him. And I mean, he had some severities in one of his arms, wasn't fully developed. I mean, it was a long arm, but just couldn't move it quite well. So he had some kind of problems there. He was drooling. But for the most part, he was functional to go back and forth with the ball, and a couple of times he could hit it. At this point, he couldn't understand, like he couldn't get the serve because he could rarely drop it and hit it. It was hard for him, yet he couldn't understand the bounce and hit it would be easier. And I kept trying to emphasize that. And his father praised him a couple of times. And I don't know if you see how genuine, how much I love people. One thing that those people out there love about me is I praise everybody. When I play, I praise everybody, and I even praise the people that make an attempt, you know. And so they see that I'm genuine like that. They didn't see like it was something I just did one time. No, I do that with everyone. So when I was working with this young man, naturally the way I am of praising him for his attempt and encouraging him comes naturally to me. So I didn't have to do anything that's outside of myself because I naturally just feel that way for people. Oh, thank you for that. And so I just naturally, but it brought up another point that I don't know if this will resonate with people, but people that watched, it was called, I want to say it was called Legion. No, it's called Preacher. It's called Preacher. And Preacher was basically about God had kind of sold some of his powers away. God basically violated some laws, and so he had to give up some of his all-inclusive powers. And so that's where the son comes in on this show. And so, but one point that I say is relevant of today is when they always showed the Jesus character, which also represents Yabatha, Yadabath. He was always not quite bright enough. Like he had some handicaps as they had one mold and they could create that over and over again, but he was always handicapped, kind of severely handicapped. And this is kind of a bizarre kind of thought in some ways. It's like when you see people on the corners, with signs, like up here they have signs. And this is a tough kind of call. But sometimes gods put themselves in that position to kind of see who are open up to the charity. Now, that's not a great charity. You help feed people that basically do nothing but hold a sign. But it just goes into saying that, part of one of the creators they put is imperfect in a lot of ways. And it goes back into, Yadabath. If Yadabath was imperfect in so many ways, but yet had all these powers, and he was able to connect with the Mai, it makes you see why there are mistakes even today. Because apparently they both needed something to create this reality. I mean, they both needed something from each other, if you understand. So whenever you hear this, you have to consider that. And so that's why these times are imperfectly perfect or perfectly imperfect at the same time. And it goes back into, not really saying that the creator could have flaws. And a lot of the flaws we do see in this life, as they say, why would the creator allow so many people to suffer in this world? Again, if you look at this thing as, the thing that created us was not as perfect as people want to say. And that's just what came to me today, and just looking at that kind of thing. That's what it made me feel. That's kind of what it got out of me today. Is that maybe that's why we see a decline in this kind of. Oops, I'm shaking. Shaking my foot. We see a decline in this kind of society that we see in it. And what the decline is. As I say, everything that you look and everything you bring in is like, what does it mean to me? Or Sly wants to say is, will that stop me from going to work in the morning? And that's really how COVID was looked at. Even 2012 wasn't looked at as scary as the way the COVID, because COVID did stop you from going to work. And that's why, I am putting the word out there, the thought process of what does this mean to me? Because that's really how you bring in a lot of these energies. Is like, what does it mean to me when you hear these stories, all these distractions? I'm down there watching this story about these little boys that supposedly got rescued from the cave. And the point goes, there was parts like in the cave, there's giant rooms. Why did you have to go any further? Like, it didn't make sense. These boys knew they had an hour or two to fuck around in the cave. why would they go to parts of the cave where they have to get on their stomachs and wiggle through or crawl through? I mean, it just made the story makes no sense. And then watching it, it even makes less sense watching it this way. Again, they had a short time to go. The cave was like, you could just go into the mouth of the cave and be wondrous. It's a cave, be wondrous. No, we got to go get on their stomachs and get dirty and keep going. And, oh, it rains. I mean, it's just not believable. It's not believable. Smoking Big, what's happening, man? Thank you for coming in. But that's all these stories. All these stories are over and over again, just distraction. Over and over and over again. So, oh, and okay, let me get the gas futures are definitely, coming into the right now. What I see today, it was 409 in some places, so it's got to be 3 something somewhere else up here. So we're seeing the gas futures already. We know going into the election, the gas always gets cheaper running into elections. So I imagine if I saw around my area 409, there's some places it's under $4. If you had Bitcoin today, you won about $400. If you had Bitcoin, you won about $400. Ethereum, yeah, what was it, 20, $30? Gold closed at 17. It was less than 1800. Gold, silver was still 19. I think it closed at. Ethereum. So those are some of the futures to consider. Oh, the pleasure's all mine. Well, thank you, Smoking Big 06. So those of you that follow stocks and things, yeah. And I've said this before, like where you work, if where you work, you look at your 401k, you look at, because what you do, you supply something, and unless you're a contractor, there's certain suppliers, and even contractors, you can see where you can invest your money in these things, where these things you might be able to peak. Again, there's long range investing, absolutely, but there's short investments that you can see, to add things to your portfolio. So definitely pay attention where you work. Pay attention to where your 401k, where your money goes, and make sure if you do that you're actively trading. You just don't trade and leave it alone. You trade and you keep trading. I remember my father took an $80,000 hit in a 401k. And when they first started in the 90s, when they first started coming up with 401ks instead of pension, they said that the reason why they needed and the states allowed it was because, again, you could pull your money around. Because they're saying with a pension, your money is just basically in one place. And if they make, a lot of pensions, you put in so much and they would match what you put in. And of course, when you pull it out, you would only get what you put in, of course. So. But that's why, they went to 401ks. The money is a bigger gamble. Again, you didn't see people getting 80,000 wiped out of pensions, unless the gangster stole it. Unless the gangster stole it because I was part of, the unions, pensions, and that kind of thing. But again, they was just moving around money. That's all. It was like instead of the money sitting in the bank, the pension funds sat with them. And what the unions did is they started, loaning out the money with interest. And they were giving loans to the mafia, but yet they were getting kickbacks, taxable kickbacks and untaxable kickbacks. And that's kind of how the mafia set it up. That's why a lot of times, I don't come on here and do. Hey, there he is. Yeah, you see the Twins won today, buddy. CW, you see they won. Oh, you need this one. You see the gold right here, and the gold in the polo, baby. See that gold? See gold? I'm glad. I don't know if I can get them like this one. This is a season or two ago. Maybe. I forget when I bought this hat. Thank you, though, bro. Make sure you let me know when everything comes through. When the little one comes. Definitely, we'll send some stuff out when the little ones come. Blue Jays, yeah, you needed the Blue Jays. Yeah, we whooped their ass. We had them 5-3 and shut their ass down. We had them in the top of the 10th inning. Hey, top of the 10th inning, we had the Blue Jays with the bases goddamn loaded, one out. Don't you know, dude got the pitcher got the next two of the motherfuckers out. But you know what? It was some bogus shit. It was some bogus shit because the Twins get a hit. He's about to be thrown out at first base, and it looked like the first baseman dropped the ball on purpose. It really did look like that. And then the final play, there was a play. The ball went to the third baseman. Again, you get when you're on third and you get a lead, it's a short run to home. And the dude threw the ball where it bounced first. He caught the ball slightly back of the bag. I'll say that. He was in back of the bag, but still, it was a short throw, and he bounced the throw, and the catcher couldn't. It looked suspect. But they did win. They did win, and it was here. It was nice today. It was in the 90s today. So we watched that. Because I was watching my house when he came over here. We watched that. I was like, yeah. So they won. Yeah, they spanked that ass today. So still in first place, buddy. And so if your buddy SD comes on, the Red Sox lover, yeah, we'll have to give him the business. Because I don't care what they say, Red Sox coming back, they ain't that good. Most definitely been working and grinding still. Things looking good on that issue. The baby, okay, good. Just let me know when the baby come through. We'll send some stuff out for sure for the baby. Because I got to send, let me see, I just sent out Nick's stuff. So Nick Taylor, you're getting a turkey or a spider next week. So show the people once one of them shows up. I don't know which one's going to show up. But definitely next week you're going to get a turkey or a spider. So let me know which one you get. So I can't say. I sent them both. Which one comes through, I'm not sure. So turkey or spider next week, brother Nick, homeboy Nick. But yeah, I'll send some girly stuff, baby stuff off for sure. Yeah, we're into that kind of stuff. Especially tell my girl, she's like, oh, most definitely. Telling her, she's like, yeah, we can send some baby stuff out. So yeah. And then I wanted to say, starting to play. I really wish I could go to Michigan this weekend. Our reunion this is like our 160th reunion in Michigan, and you're not gonna be able to make it. Not gonna be able. We would have to leave. I mean, even flying, it just didn't really work out. I got to work. My girl got to work. Natalie's got some shit Monday I got to take her to because I'm off in the morning. You know, I don't go in till 3. Or really, I don't have to be there till 4, but I go in at 3. And so it's just not going to work. But we're going to go to Chicago. I'm going to do a show with Pomo. So I still want to talk about that. Probably get Benita out set. And maybe we'll get punk-ass Dr. Clyde Winters. We'll get his ass to see what he got to say. Oh, yeah. We know Yankees was going to choke a few games. We know the Yankees was going to choke off a few games to make it interesting. Hey, what's happening, Lorenzo? How you doing, man? Tell you next on the line to get some gear too, Lorenzo. You next on the line. Once I get when I send some conspiracy stuff off and Sean's stuff off. Because I thought I was going up north and was going to get some crystals up north, but I think I think we're going to make the crystal shop. Freaking closes early. So going to try to get some more local stuff here. Yeah. So get Sean's stuff off, and then conspiracy, once the baby comes, we'll get some baby stuff and send his hat off and send that stuff off. So, and Lorenzo, you'll definitely be next. Got some stuff working, Lorenzo, that I might let you get exclusively. So just send it to you once I get it done. So yeah. No doubt. That's how we do it, is mixed stuff. I want some of that Mississippi stuff too. I want you to send me something with Mississippi on it. I want some Mississippi stuff, you know? But you can't, you know? You send me, bet. Yeah, bet. I want some Mississippi gear too. Mississippi or Mississippi State. I want some of that gear too. But that's where, my family comes from there. My father was born in Mississippi. My father and my grandmother and my great-grandfather was all born in Mississippi. My father moved to Michigan like 4 or 5 years old, but he was born in Mississippi. It's funny. My father had a friend later that I think I told the story. I got recruited by Florida A&M when I was a freshman in high school. They recruited 3 seniors, and they recruited me. And so we went down to do our trip when I was in ninth grade. And the coach was an ex-Western Michigan player, Ajax Triplet. And I only bring him up is because the triplets come from Mississippi. And it's like literally where my father was born and where my great-grandfather had all the property, and the triplets, they live near each other, is what I'm saying is. It's like they knew each other as little boys, and both the families went to Michigan at the same time, which is so interesting. And I think Ajax is still with us, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen him. When they recruited me, he was still at Florida A&M. So again, I couldn't sign with him because when I got recruited, when you sign your letter of intent your letter of intention, it only stopped you from going to the colleges. You couldn't go to colleges. You couldn't sign another letter of intent colleges in the conference. That's what they used to mean. Now they mean you can't go. You're intended to go to this college and no other college. But back then it didn't quite mean the same. You actually could back out and go to another college in a different conference. That's how it used to be. Yeah, that's how it used to be. What position did I play? In high school, I played up to my freshman year. I played quarterback my freshman year. I was all city like quarterback my freshman year. And then they switched me. I broke my finger too. When I broke this finger, I couldn't throw. I broke this finger like in May or June. And football season started in September, and I had 2 pins put in this finger. Couldn't throw. Run fast and everything, but really couldn't throw. Hey, Jody. So my senior year, I played, my junior year, I actually played wide receiver and safety. I would play strong and free. I would play strong safety, and we would just be 2 strong safeties. I'd be up on the line damn near. A lot of teams back when I played in high school would run the ball a lot, so I'd be up. Like, yeah, nobody's going to outrun me. I know everybody. Nobody could outrun me, so I could be up on the line, and nobody would outrun me and be like, I like to tackle. Then my senior year, for some reason, they just had us in one position, so I played flanker my senior year. And that's what I played in college. I played flanker. Mostly, I played all 3, though. I played X, Y, or Z, but mostly flanker, Y. Yeah. Off the line, mostly off the line. If I was split, I was off the line. The only time I would be on the line if it was I was on one side and had one-on-one running the post flag. But even then, I think I was still off the line. I was still playing Y. So mostly Y. You like playing linebacker? I like playing safety. That's really that's kind of what got me in college. My coach was on some shit and sent the wrong films. But the film he sent, I had an interception, ran it back like 30 yards. So, playing safety. Just they were on like about the 4-yard line and they passed and I'm right there. Boom. Just took off. Ran about back to the 30. So they had me playing safety. Yep. So, but I like to catch. I was more of a receiver. Once I bust my finger, I wasn't a quarterback anymore. I really couldn't throw the ball again until I was like 18, 19, when, I could finally had the strength in my hand. But I've broken every finger. I've broken both hands. Broken this one multiple times. I think I only broke this once. I must have broke both thumbs in little boy baseball, especially this one I used to catch. I must have constantly broke this one. And just think, you start playing Little League Baseball at 10 and you catch. And when you catch, how many, you're catching hundreds of balls during a game. And just, this and balls tipped and shit hitting you, tip fouls hitting you in your arms. But just doing this. And, you just taught that, you take pain. And so I imagine how many times I must have really broke my thumb catching. Because I caught until I broke this finger. That's what stopped me from catching. Because when I went up in league, I was supposed to catch. So it was so funny. I went from my age group to play with 16-year-olds. And right when I went from playing with 14-year-olds to 16-year-olds, I broke my finger. So I couldn't catch anymore, but I could still pitch. But I couldn't throw. Definitely. It took me years. I could still catch, but I couldn't throw. I could still tackle too. That's why I liked that we blocked in college. because I like blocking. I didn't mind the contact. Some people don't like the contact. Oh, you never broke a bone? Hey, Crazy Sarge, how you doing? I tore my whole knee up. I tore my whole knee up. I had to stop playing. But you never broke a bone? Yeah, I broke shit. Yeah, I broke every finger, both thumbs. Broke this hand several times. Broke this one, I think, once. Like today, I have bone spurs. Like I've broken bones on the top of my foot too. You know, I've broken bones on the top of my foot, and they calcify. That's where spurs come from. And I was feeling that a little bit earlier today. And then I've had plantar fasciitis, which is painful as hell. Never broke a bone, but tore your knee up. Agree that yet? I broke someone's collarbone on accident. Told you the funniest game I did was when I think I was in sixth grade, sixth or seventh. And every quarterback this team put in, I hurt him. It was like 3 quarterbacks I hurt. So the first dude, I hurt him in the first couple plays. They put another quarterback in, I hurt him. And then they put another quarterback in, I hurt him. So they put the first quarterback in, and I think I'm in 6th or 7th grade, maybe 7th. And so they put the first quarterback in, and he breaks way on the end. And I literally catch him kind of like by his body. And he was about my size, but I caught him by his body, and I picked him up by his body, and I literally like slammed him on his head. And his mother ran out on the field and started hitting me. She's like, "You can't do that to my son." And she was like, hit me and shit. I'm backing up. And then here comes my mother over, and here comes my stepdad and the coach. And, we're fighting these people. But she's like, "You can't do that to my son." But I got it. It was like right on the side. I picked him up and like, wham! I only tore ligaments. He only tore ligaments. It is the difference. It's the difference between tearing a bone and tearing ligaments. It is the difference. And so, I was feeling that a little bit today. I tore my Achilles. They took this blood clot out of my thigh. I've had both knees scoped. I have tennis elbows still to today. I've had both surgeries on the carpal tunnel on both hands. I've had trigger fingers on both hands. I think 2 fingers on this hand, 1 finger on this hand. So, catching thousands of balls. Basketball, dunking, hitting, spraining your wrist. Can't tell you how many times sprain wrist. Concussions. I had a concussion in high school. I had slipped and stood up. I had slipped running my pass route, and when I stood up, a guy came and his knee caught me, like right in my helmet right here. That was probably the first time in a football game I had a concussion. As soon as I got up, his knee hit me in my head. And I just remember, I don't hardly remember the game after that. I really don't. I ain't go out. I kept playing. And this was high school. I kept playing. And of course, I always talk about, probably my biggest play in college. I had a 60-yard run that put me on a 2 or 3 and got knocked out, got hit by 2 people. And stood up and just standing there in the end zone before somebody realized there was something wrong with me. Just standing there looking in the stands. I remember that we was watching the films and they laughing at me because I'm just literally just standing, like I stood up and I walked in the end zone and I didn't move. And I just stood there. And that, like, the camera's kind of showing the teams too, and they're showing our team bench, and the team, and like everybody's kind of looking at me and they're like, he's not moving. And I didn't. I just stood there. You see in the film, I'm just standing there. I was like stunned and knocked out on my feet. I just standing there. And I remember the trainer came over and like told me to follow him. He came, you can see him in the camera. He literally he tapped me and he said, "Follow me." Because I know when he came up to me, I ain't know who the fuck he was. But he said, "Follow me." And then they put the shit, they put that remember I was talking about that with my father. They put that shit, turpentine and shit in front of you. Aikman said he didn't remember winning Super Bowl because of concussion. Man, watch Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson fought Holyfield 2 or 1, where Holyfield just headbutted him. As a matter of fact, they took 2 points away from Holyfield. That was his tactic to win with his head. You know how hard you can get hit with your head? And I don't give Mike Tyson any slack because Mike Tyson was the best for forearm to the face. Well, how would he do it? Punch, then forearm. That was his cheat. He would punch you and then he would hit you in the head with his forearm. That was Mike Tyson. Boom, boom. That is Mike Tyson. So yeah, but that's what Tyson say. You remember when he did the sit down talk? You know, say he got hit. You know, and I've talked about before of for the you guys are old time wrestler fan. His name was Bubba Brazil from Benton Harbor, Michigan, and his whole scheme. He was the first one to. They called it the cocoa butt. There's like, oh no, Bubba's on the fringe, and Bubba would like they'd have everybody, you know, one of the rumbles, and everybody be in the ring, and Bubba's like, or even like just fighting a 2-on-2, and Bubba's cocoa butting the other dudes. He was the first that was his main move. He was the one that put headbutting into everything. You know, really, you know, make it a popular move. Was Bubba Brazil. Seems like they have a center in Ben Harbor named after him because he's there. You know, there's another Hall of Famer from Ben Harbor named Chet Walker. Chet Walker, more famous for playing with the Bulls, but Chet Walker won the championship when he played with the Warriors with Wilt, when the Warriors won their only championship in Philadelphia. Chet Walker was on that team. He's from Ben Harbor too, and Chet Walker's in the Hall of Fame. But the Benton Harbor they grew up in ain't the Benton Harbor that there's nah. Benton Harbor was another city that suffered from the water issue too. You know, so it wasn't just Flint; it was other cities too. I rooted for Holyfield, but he did headbutt Tyson a lot in both fights. That's why he bit his ass. They was letting him cheat. Miles, like they took. He should have been the first fight. He should have clearly been disqualified. The first fight, he should have clearly been disqualified. Matter of fact, the second fight, he got warned. He got warned. What was it in the first round? He got warned. He had already got warned 2 times in that fight where they took away 1 point in I think the second fight. But the second fight was the same thing, just going there and headbutting. So it was a spectacle, you know, as it was. He's supposed to be bidding, but that's why. As you know, it's all fun and games. I liked Holyfield too. I'm trying to think, is Holyfield the one that beat Braxton? Because I remember I've said this before, like when Larry Holmes was about to break Rocky Marciano's record and he fought Michael Spinks. And I said, I knew Michael Spinks. Them niggas was all in Kalamazoo when I was a senior in high school. Told the stories about, you know, partying with Leon Spinks and shit. Michael and them was all there too. Butch Lewis was all up in Kalamazoo too. He was all up in Club 2000, the name of it. But he didn't beat Larry Holmes. They gave that shit to Michael Spinks. He did not beat him. Back then they say, you know, you got to knock out the champion to lose. That was kind of the way it was. He nowhere near that. And they just did not let him get it because of Rocky Marciano. When he clearly beat Michael Spinks. It's no way Michael, at the most, you could even say it was a draw. Now, did Michael throw more punches? Probably. Larry didn't knock him out either. But you got to kill the king. The king need to go out on the shield. And it was nowhere near that. He never hurt. You can never say that Michael Spinks in both fights hurt Holmes. Never did. So, never hurt him. My day, it was Bam Bam Bigelow and Chris Burnett. They would fly off the top rope, headbutt. Yeah. Oh, shit, yeah. They'd climb up the top of the shit and fly down. Yeah. And you know the thing, even though wrestling is fake, you got to be able to take the falls. You know, it's what we saw during the bubble was, you know, remember they was the wrestling academy is down there in Orlando. I think Orlando. I think it's on a Disney property. Universal. Either MGM in Orlando or Universal has the wrestling academy. One of my teammates apparently went to it. Like back in the 80s. I don't think he ever caught on because remember wrestling was very regional. All of them was up here. Rodney Rod Piper, Ric Flair, a bunch of the mugs is from around this area. Hawk, all of them was training in this area. As I said before, my old neighbor's daddy was the Sheik, and he just stayed up here. The old Iron Sheik, yeah, he was at a picnic. His grandson had a birthday party. Old Iron Sheik was at the picnic. Still a fairly big guy, too. But he stayed in this area, and he was with Hawk and all of them. If y'all look up the Iron Sheik, this dude lived here, sell cars. He's probably in his 70s, I'm guessing. Because his daughter she probably in her 40s by now. For those of you that remember that. I don't know if y'all remember the Iron Sheik or not. The wrestling was Saturday mornings. It was like early Saturday mornings was wrestling, and then Soul Train always came on at noon. No, let me take that back. You watch wrestling early Saturday, and then you had American Bandstand, then you had Soul Train. It was like American Bandstand came on 11 Eastern and went from 11 to 12, and then Soul Train came from 12 to 1. You know, I'll say this about Soul Train. It seemed really sad. It was like after watching the latest Soul Train, it was kind of sad that I had to wait a whole other week to see the next one. You know, other than the robot, moonwalk, pop locking, yeah, I never tried to dress like the niggas in California. I never looked at the niggas in California and said they are the best dressed. Heard some people say that and talking about Soul Train. No. Their dances was always behind. You know, again, the way they're shot, but they was never doing what we was doing in the clubs. It was like always they were behind. Once that pop locking got old, yeah, the dances weren't new. WWE NXT training facility in Orlando, yeah. And that's what they call the wrestling college. Yeah, because you got to pay. You know, the average person got to pay to go down there. You know, you want to get that training, you pay. As I said before, here, we got a league here. I think it's Saturday mornings. They on TV. They're in, I used to live in Eden Prairie. In Eden Prairie, they still hold some pro wrestling. It's a school called Edison where they hold the matches at. It's a small, probably one time was a junior high, now it's elementary, but it's a fairly big gym where they show it on TV. And that's been going, I've been here 16 years. And so that's been going on for 16 years. So it's still, you know, local wrestling. Excuse me. Yep. So yeah, so that's, you know, where you train. Now MMA. You know, I got a guy lived in Carolina. He's training MMA. So bad man, he's gonna be my bodyguard. Him and my son gonna be my bodyguards. Need some bad dudes. Gonna have all the training. Gonna give them all the training. So too old to be fighting anymore. That's why I wanted to beat the dude up earlier, but did he really deserve to be beat up? Did he really, even though he did disrespect me, did he disrespect me to the point I should beat the guy up? Not really. Kind of overreaction. He did need an ass whooping, but, you know, just because people need it doesn't mean you should give it to them every time. Sometimes you just have to blow that shit out, you know, without reacting. Instead of reacting, you just blow it out and say, okay, might have to whip your ass next time, but this time you get a pass because it just ain't worth the sweat and bother. Because this dude truly was one of them dudes with a big old gut. 2 shots to the stomach, he would have been like tapped out. No way he could take punches to the stomach. You know, like a double uppercut. Yeah, he would have been like, what knee? You know, watching the Craig Facts dude, the pro boxer they had on there talked about the one dude who's a promoter, but he's the biggest loser in the history of boxing. He's lost something like 400 matches, and I think he boxes still, or he recently retired. He was a promoter, but he lost. He's like the biggest loser ever. And if you study him, you clearly see that boxing has been fixed for a long time. But just looking at this guy's career and what he does, and then hearing this other boxer talk about he's promoting other boxers by losing. because dude would always stay where he, he's a journeyman. Journeyman. That's the kind of thing they would give. I tell you where I did see one fixed fight kind of go wrong. It was a dude I saw. I was home for Christmas break. Again, I grew up around boxing, so they was promoting this dude. His name was Robin Earl. He was the Duke of some shit like Michigan has a town called Pittsburgh. So he's the Duke of Pittsburgh or some shit like that. And he fought a dude, and the dude he fought was a journeyman, and the only thing they could say good about him was he fought Bone Crusher Smith. I think Bone Crusher knocked the dude out, but he fought Bone Crusher. And I remember he was blowing dudes kisses and shit before the fight. Well, the Duke of Pittsburgh wasn't very happy about that. And I remember that Duke of Pittsburgh hit that dude. And you know how Bernie Mac says when Mike Tyson hit the guy, and his eye did like this and shit. I mean, he just like, woo. He hit that dude a couple of dude's eye just like, woof. Like he hit that dude. His shit was like this. They stopped the fight. I mean, this shit, like his eye was, like this. End of the fight, his eye was way out here. So them blowing kisses, he was none of that after that. So even though he was probably meant to lose, I don't think he was meant to lose where his shit was blown out like it was. So, he was talking shit, blowing kisses before the fight. He walked away with his shit blowed out like this. Towel was way out here. His shit was so far blowed out. I always thought that was funny. If you're going to fix a fight, don't suffer. Don't suffer from fixing it. You dig? Don't suffer from fixing it. When I was a kid, I used to be scared of the Soul Train mascot till I got older and realized it was a train with soul. Oh, absolutely. But, even Don Cornelius say, I'm being from the Midwest. That's, every wedding since the 60s I went to. There's a picture of me where I was at a wedding in like 19... Andy, and I'd have to see their children, but their children are around my brother's age, so 67. So yeah, so there's a picture of all the family at this wedding. And on the bottom of the steps, I'm 4 or 5 at this wedding. You can look at this picture, and there I am sitting at these people's wedding. I went. Oh, and so that I was 4 or 5. I want to say I was 4, but I might have been 5. And I remember when we had, when we went to the reception, we did the Soul Train line. And I'm 5. It's like 66, 65. So we was doing the Soul Train line. I remember, I was really little. And, it was kind of cool for the little boys to go down the Soul Train line. But that was like 66 at Andy and Charlene's wedding. Yeah. Tragic. It's really tragic. When I think about this guy, I was at I'm in this guy's wedding. I remember him. And this guy had a stroke at 27, 28 years old. He had a stroke at 27, 28 years old. And that's not even the worst of it. If I'm not mistaken, his wife was in a car accident and got her head cut off. There's like a bunch of pretty sisters and a couple of them got killed. But she used to babysit me. I could still picture her face, still picture her talking to me. And her husband had a stroke, and I remember she would babysit me because, and it was the first time I ever seen a bed that wasn't in the bedroom. It was like his bed was in the living room with us, and that's how she took care of me. It was the first time I ever saw that. And actually, it was, I don't know, you'd have to see the house. It was a big-ass house they had. But, yeah, big-ass room. It wasn't no little room where it was a huge room but it was just, that's how she took care of me. And then she was in a terrible car accident. But I remember we doing the Soul Train line with my cousin Mary Moncrief. Same thing. We was doing the Soul Train line. So it was a Midwest thing. Definitely a Midwest thing. I remember my cousin, they did a little thing for when my cousin died a few years ago when they had a Soul Train line. No, it wasn't Leon Spinks. It was Blood Mitchell. I think what they called him. Blood Mitchell was the one talking shit. They was outside of the dude who made the oh man, we was talking about him yesterday. The dude who made the outside Louis Vuitton print, that dude. They was what's his name? Don what is his name? But that guy works for Gucci now. But he was the first one to put the Gucci print, outside. Instead of being inside, he was putting it outside. That guy, they was at his place. They was getting them custom made stuff in New York because he had a place where you went downstairs, and so Mike Tyson caught him in the stairs, Blood Mitchell, and blew his shit out. I saw the picture. Mike punched that motherfucker in the street, and that motherfucker, they interviewing him. And when they interviewed, his shit's blowed out. Oh, you sucker punched me. Yeah, nigga, you should have went and hid after that punch. I ain't talking to nobody with my shit blowed out. And then again, I've never had my shit blowed out like that. The thing about it is, like, when you're older, when I was younger, I could take punches. I used to fight where I would just counter punch. I used to want to see what a dude could do. Like, some dudes that hit you and it's like, you really want to fight me and you can't even hit? I used to want to get hit just to see how hard they could hit. I mean, as people say, sometimes dude to hit you, and I saw this in football, dude to hit you so hard and knock you out, but if he hit you right, as soon as he hit you and then hit you again, he'll bring you back. It's a weird kind of thing, but it is. I've watched people. You hit them and knock them out and make a mistake and punching them again, and you see their eyes open back up. Like, you done smacked them, their eyes are literally closed. But then when they fall, if you smack them again, you'll see their eyes open back up because you done revived them. It's kind of an odd phenomenon, but very real. Very real. I've had that happen to me playing football. He kept calling Mike Tyson a sissy. Yeah, Tyson punched the shit out. What is his name? I was just talking about the designer, because that designer now works for Louis Vuitton or Gucci. I forget, but I want maybe Louis Vuitton. But like when they would show Alpo, and I remember what's her name, the real Roxanne. You remember her album? Early in the morning, I get up and I start yawning. Real Roxanne. I kind of dug some of her. She had Howie T. Y'all remember Howie T, the producer? I know PJ. I remember you know Howie. Remember DJ Howie T? That was her DJ. Man, she has some. Well, I'm trying to think. I'm the real Roxanne, but even on her own album, yeah, that album with that cover on it was kind of tight. It was kind of nice. It really was. The real Roxanne. I kind of thought early in the, yeah, that song. Yeah, that song was nice. I had that at 12-inch too. I kind of liked her. I liked the real Roxanne. Now I seen real, like I said, my friend was one of the my friend that ended up he had a castle down in the Virgin Islands. He was one of the first dudes that had we have Lifetimes, Bally, franchises of health clubs. One of my childhood friends was the first to get in on that. He ended up being a karate coach of in 1988, the 1988 Olympics. He was one of the karate coaches. Bad motherfucker. He's about 5'6", and we was in a street fight, and this nigga beat up about 7 people, adults. We had came out the club, and the motherfucker was out there tripping because I was probably fucking with one of their ladies or some shit, and that was my guy. He wasn't like, who you talking to? He'd be his first one. I was very, we 14, 15 up in the club. He's probably a little older, but I'm like probably 15 up in the club, fucking with these grown women. Motherfuckers wouldn't like that shit. And we leaving, I'm got one of these women in the corner kissing on her, feeling on her shit, Then she done gave me the number. We leaving. The motherfuckers want to be outside the alley and shit like the old karate movies. Shit. You know me, I'm just going to tackle a motherfucker first off. If I see a dude that you talk that shit to me, I'm just going right at you. I'm knocking you off your feet and see if you can stand up and take it. Shit. Mark was great. Like, he had one of the roundhouse kicks that was so quick. I mean, he could literally kick 4 or 5 people, just roundhouse blind ass kicks. That's the first time I'd knock a motherfucker off his feet in a minute. I got that from football, but football fighting the same way. If I can knock you off your feet and I'm standing up, you ain't got a chance. So that's me. I'm a little drunk too. And then Mark got to kicking motherfuckers. That was the baddest I personally saw of using martial arts and whooping niggas' ass. Was Mark we whooped him grown man's ass. He literally whooped 7 motherfuckers. 7 motherfuckers by himself. Well, I'm knocking motherfuckers down. I'm fighting, but he's kicking and using expertise. Because Mark was shit. Probably by the time he was 14, he probably was like a 4 or 5 degree black belt when we was like 14, 13, 14. He was teaching, he was teaching. And he could do that jump in the air, fly, and kick people, shit. He could do that shit really good. Really good. Where, sometimes when you watch martial arts films, when they kick a dude, it's like they super speed it up when the dude get kicked. Like if he did a fly in the air kick to somebody, that's how it looked. When he would hit the dude, like he would jump and just like I said, I would just run at a person, knock them off their feet. Mark would do that, but kick them instead. And he would kick them. Mark would jump and kick them, and it really, they would super fall down really quick. It was just interesting where he would just run up a person and just kick them, and the way they fell down was super quick. It's kind of like movie-ish, funny if you looked at it. Mark was good like that. Funny shit, but just fighting. And I remember with Mark, I had called him Uncle Tom. I was telling him, like, this motherfucker be Uncle Tom. And everywhere we go, I used to hate to take him places because he was kind of like that. He loved European folks. And he came by, and my brother's like, "Are you Uncle Tom?" My brother says you're Uncle Tom. And he was so mad. He didn't talk to me for weeks. I was glad he didn't want to whoop my ass. But he was my man. But he was just mad. But he was like, when he saw me, I was like, God damn, this nigga's going to kick my ass. He didn't kick my ass. He was just mad. Like, you shouldn't call me Uncle Tom, man. That's not right. I'm like, well, thank you for not kicking my ass, first of all, because he could have really kicked my ass easy then. We were like 12. I think I was 12, so he was probably 13 or 14. He really could have kicked my ass then. I wouldn't have really had a chance. He was a black belt by then, but he liked me. He was my man, so he just was mad. It was cool after that. So I've known people. I had a dude. We watched a dude kick a garage down. Karate Joe kicked the garage down. He was talking shit that he could do it, and they had already taken off the roof, and he literally kicked the walls down. Yeah. He literally kicked the walls down. I mean, later he had his hip replaced, but he was that bad. He was kicking like sections of walls. It was interesting to watch this shit. Because 3 kicks. One kick, he kicked the wall down twice. He kicked it one place, and he kicked it the other place. He knocked that whole wall down. Yeah, the middle part in the back, it took him 3 kicks. He kicked it with 3 kicks. He kicked it, and he kicked it that last kick, and he knocked it down. And then that last wall, I'm trying to think how that last wall, seemed like he kicked that one down one kick. He kicked it in the middle, and when nothing else hardly holding it, he kicked it and knocked it down. Karate Joe. That was what his name was, Karate Joe. He was my boy's uncle, like my cousin's uncle and shit. Because we was like starting to do business. He's like, how? He's like, yeah, this is, he's in family. They was his uncle, but they was my cousins. But Joe was their uncle. Like, how is you in the family? I'm like, these niggas here is my cousins. So what's up with that? Like, their mother is related to my grandma. So what? But that was their uncle. Joe was their uncle. He's like, oh, okay, you family, all right. But goddamn Joe, he's about 6'6". Wasn't no little dude. He was a big guy. He probably ain't with us anymore. I remember he had to get his hips replaced. I'm like, well, what do they say? The story goes, you shouldn't kick down the garages. What's happening, man? Hey, I'm always bringing you up. That's my man. I forgive you for wearing the Chicago Bulls hat on Facebook. I don't know if I have any Chicago Bull hats, even though recently there were some great Chicago. The Windy City hats, man. I was finding shirts that was saying that Windy City, so I should have grabbed them. My friend, she looked at all my hats. She says, "You don't need any more hats. It's never enough. Hats are never enough. You can't wear the same 100 hats all the time. There's 300 days in the year. Well, you just rotate the same 10 and be happy? No, I'm never happy with the same 10. She's like, you can sell those hats. Like, sell my hats? Why? I don't need the money. I like the hat. You can't wear the hat every day. Well, I can wear it when I want to wear it. I can wear it when I want to wear it. But definitely welcome, PJ. I know you feel me. Same with shoes. My closet got like a mountain of shoes like that. The ones that ain't in boxes. It's a mountain like that. Between my son, what is it? Vans. My son has like 10 pair of Vans. From super muddied out to, you know, and I have a bunch of the Dom 2s. I got a bunch. LeBrons. I wanted to show, and I mentioned this earlier, I wanted to show my Dom 3s. I really wanted to show this, to show what pickleball and how well the shoe has performed. Because my left shoe is really where the tread is smooth. You know, those of you, we was talking about, you know, when you get the cheap shoes, like people would say, when, you know, back when we called them, I think it's skits. I think that's how I called it, you know, because the little emblem would wear off so quick where you just see, you know, a couple of like abbreviation. Like, you know, Converse, the Converse would stay there, but with the copy imitation Converse, the shit would disappear, you know, where the letters was. This shit would wear off. Wasn't like the Converse. The Converse would never wear off. But the imitation ones where the words were, was, you know, so they call them shh, you know, because it would always wear off. The name would always wear off. And so a lot of those shoes, you know, the treads will wear off sort of easy. So next time I almost brought those shoes to show, you know, the durability of how I think it's those Dom 3s are definitely the dominant shoes for pickleball, I think. Adidas, and, you know, it can be any of them, you know, any of the 2021-22 uh, uh, Adidas, because all of them are from the same mold, as you can see. But it's definitely a type of court shoe. I looked at that Viper, whatever it's called. I talked to a tennis player I played with. Yeah, forget them shoes. Them shoes, I was thinking about getting them, but yeah, no, they're not going to be very durable. That's what the guy even told me. I looked at his, I'm like, yeah. No, the basketball court shoe is the best shoe for pickleball, type of basketball court shoe. Again, whatever you need for your, you don't want the heel too built up, so you don't really want a max unit because, again, you're going side to side. But you want a type of court shoe. That's why basketball shoes will probably work as long as the heel's not built up too much, you know. As long as you have, you know, a nice cup there to hold, you know, to really steady your foot. And this is probably a little deep for everybody, but, you know, the pickleball court is on the reservation, and so, you know, there's a lot of good energy, especially Hero Twins. I mean, pickleball is nothing but the Hero Twins. But movies show this a little bit, because the movies try to show on a long football run the breathing and stuff. But lately, I've really been able to I don't know, just feel everything. From like when my feet are in the ground gripping, to the tightness of my legs, my knees. I mean, I just feel everything. And like just the responsiveness, you know, uh, just feeling everything when you respond. I mean, we don't really touch on that enough. You know, we're so ignorant of everything that happens to us that we don't really enjoy everything it takes for even just really talking or thought, but especially doing things athletically. We don't enjoy that. We don't understand. We're so caught up in the moment that we really don't understand what it takes to just be athletic and loving it and moving and feeling everything as you move, from the bottom of your toes, the way your socks feel. I mean, we're not taught to enjoy all that at once. And I really feel that. I really feel that. And in any of you, no matter what you do, it's like when I see people jog, sometimes I see people mindless of jogging. And so they're not really, it almost looks like possession, if you understand. Now, if you love to run, that's great. But I've seen people that it seems like the demon is liking to run. not necessarily a person, but the demon wants to run. I mean, I know running is not looked at as good or evil. It's not good or evil or wicked, but it's like the person is possessed where the demon likes jogging. I've seen that in people's eyes. Did I get that right? Yeah, I have seen that in people's eyes. Have saw that. Have seen. I have witnessed people's eyes, that blankness, where it's the demon that likes working out. Demon wants to jog or run. The person that I've said this many times before. The person that they wrote that about running across country was a cat named Fox. And Fox had smoked cigarettes years before, but the flaw that Fox used to do, Fox used to jog down highways out in LA. In LA, it's open highways everywhere, so there's a lot of area to jog. And when you run, you're getting a lot of carbon monoxide, poisoning. And that's what really killed him, at a fairly young age. The guy who was created, the one who basically created the idea of jogging. And I still see people, running on the highways. A lot of highways, have the bike where you can ride bikes and stuff, but you're riding down a highway. And unless you really time where the air is good, it's detrimental to you. It's poisoning you. Because as the more you work, the more air you're taking in. And if you're taking in all this gasoline air, even though you're working out, you're actually poisoning yourself quicker. So, think about where you got to work and where you got to jog. You want to walk around streets and areas that ain't a lot of cars. So you don't want to work, you don't want to walk down streets where it's busy, where you're breathing in a lot of gas. You want to walk down streets or parks where it's, free air. Like cars run better, when the NASCAR cars run, they run better when they're away from the other cars or that the air is cleaner. The engine's going to perform better. And same with us. And too often, they make it pleasant to walk around where there's not good air. So understand that. Understand that. Yeah. And it's like Dr. Phil Valentine had a talk where he was saying melanated people didn't even need to work out. Because really, the gym calisthenics that was done in school in the 40s, started probably in the 30s and 40s, was basically to keep children in shape to join the army. That's why you have physical education classes. It was basically created to keep children in shape so they could join the army, especially people who were born in the 50s and 60s. And then, the way they psyop the children was, the children watching old World War II movies and we're conquering. You're watching cowboy movies. And again, melanated people would cheer for the cowboys to conquer the Indians, not understanding, you're being destroyed in this movie, but not understanding it. And you're cheering for John Wayne. And a lot of European people volunteered for Vietnam. I knew some melanated people volunteered as well. College educated. One of my mentors, probably one of my early handlers. He went to Vietnam in the early 60s. He said he tripped out the first time he saw an elephant. So a motherfucker came out of the goddamn jungle on a goddamn elephant. He's like, first time he ever saw an elephant was in Vietnam. So they were about to kill the elephant. Here's the dude sitting on the elephant, one of the villagers and some shit. A lot of cats wouldn't talk about that shit. I know another dude was medic. He was like, when I owned a security company, he was one of my main men. I could depend on him. He worked 2 jobs, but where we had the contract, it was easy for him to go to sleep. Like on the weekends, he could sleep, because he worked at 2 jobs. So he'd literally leave from one job to the other. But he could come, we had a job where there wasn't no cameras or nothing. Nobody came in, so he could go to sleep. Be in a building by himself and go to sleep. When I would take the shift at the building, I would have a party. I would have parties in this building. I had security contracts with. Nobody would be there. It'd just be me, and I'd bring, like I said, one woman I used to deal with. It was 7 buildings, and me and her had sex in all 7 buildings. We worked together. We would always meet at different buildings. She's like, "What building today?" She'd come knock on the door. I'd be waiting for her, let her in, and there was bathrooms with beds or whatever. There was 7 buildings. We got down in all 7 buildings. That's something a daughter would tell a mother. Well, you know, me and your dad went through all these 7 buildings. No, Mom, no, you're not a freak, were you, Mom? I was a freak for him. We're just human, that's all. That is all. We are only human. How long? I'm not gonna go too late because I do have a couple things to do tomorrow. But I'm still pretty buzzed, and I want to enjoy this buzz. I like to philosophize while I'm buzzed. Um, Nobody says it looks fuzzy tonight. I know this window. I'm gonna have to put something over this window. Yeah, kind of testing where in the room. I think it's better right here, but definitely gonna have to sound. This is a large ass window. I have to put something over this. Other than that, I think this room's gonna work. I could do a show on this big ass treadmill. This is huge treadmill screen. I think you guys might see it on. Oh, this is North Trek. I think I'm going to Italy tomorrow and do some walking. You know, on this you can go to Italy and walk in Italy. Yeah, I want to see somebody over there and want to whoop their ass. uh, but that's didn't really have anything else hardly, guys. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. Just wanted to come on Saturday morning and do a little bit of philosophizing, sharing of energies. That's what it's all about, y'all. Sports is my main thing, but other things, spirituality is something I take seriously. You know, try to share some tips with everyone because we're all spiritual people, especially melanated people. We're very spiritual, and we all have magic, and it's just it appears in different times, different ways, and different forms. So keep that in mind. I mean, if you self heal, that's a God power, and we all can self heal. You cut yourself, it heals. That's a God power. But as the witch says, love her above. You know, the God power is staying in love all the time. I mean, God's power comes from being able to stay in love. But there's so many distractions and everything that takes that love out of our hearts. Like I was saying, with me playing with that boy, despite his handicaps, was just pure love and just that I love people. I didn't do it to come on and talk about it where he's like, you know, he was such a good guy to do that. That's something I've been doing, you know. I would quit playing with adults and start playing with children if children needed a 4th person to play because I just didn't care. I just wanted to play. So nobody could say that's out of my character that I'm just, you know, bringing this up to pat me on the back. No, I love people. And that's what love with people is. You love all people. And I felt bad for the young man because technically, you know, being inclusive don't mean bringing him and he's locked into another thing and nobody playing with him. That ain't inclusiveness. Inclusive is you try to make him so he can play with everybody else. But see, we become selfish. We become selfish. I understood what he did. They found 2 other people, you know, children about the same age, parents about the same level. They start playing. I understand that. But I did not see them playing with this other young man. He was on his own. And just because you take him to the park don't mean it's inclusive unless you include him. Again, it ain't my point to, you know, that ain't my thing was I was put there just to enjoy his company for just that short amount of time. Like I told the story before where I was in love with a woman totally, saw her for the first time and knew I'd never see her again, but enjoyed the few minutes I was around her. Totally in love with her. But in love doesn't mean, you know, forever. It meant I loved her in that moment. Wasn't like a hit and run just for fun. Not that kind of thing. It was just in that moment of being around this person. For some reason, in that moment, we was brought together. It's not hard for us as humans to love other humans. You want to identify with other humans. It's got to be a bigger room you in because I'm hearing the echo. Oh yeah, it's a fairly big room. It is. It's a fairly big room. This mirror, this window's right here. So that's one thing I'm gonna have to do. Now this right here, this corner over here, right here, I can probably, I can dampen that. But yeah, it's a fairly big room. Where's this North track? There's that big motherfucker there. And then over here. So it's fairly nice size. So have to do a little bit of sound dampening, especially when they get the mics in. So yeah. That's why I'm kind of like the Chicago deal. I want to have all the good equipment, even mobile, to get Pomo. You guys are gonna like Pomo. He's a bad guy. Really, I wish we could get some of this stuff written. For a modern day philosopher, rapper type of thought, yeah. Me and him used to get deep in summer 16. We used to get deep into conversations on talk show. Just me and him just go for hours. That's what this, practicing for all this helped me. Was me and him just going, just his mind, really just what he's put out there and stuff he used to put on Facebook. It's just the deepest of deep of understanding. Like the archons and how archons are used, like the trickle down economics. Archons are almost used in trickle down kind of ways. You got the archon, but you got the way the archon puts itself there. It has others that like take its form but have lesser energy of it, and they start trying to do these kind of different distractions. And he's very good on showing how that is done. He's very good on it. Because I used to always say a thing called the Ninja Pimp, and he came up with the Iceberg Slim. Like it was like the Ninja Pimp was kind of thing is, you stealthy in your movements. And he turned that into Iceberg Slim Lit. I mean, it was just brilliant the way, because I was like, man, how can we use this? It's like, I got this, man, but I can't make it into anything else. How could we use that? And he, from Ninja Pimp to Iceberg Slim Lit, I mean, it really, he really hit what I was kind of trying to put out there. So I want to get him, and he said he rapped to me in Chicago. So I tried to get him on to this platform. He wouldn't come on. So I got his number, and I'm going to try to get that brother on. Good brother. And hopefully Benita too. And if Dr. Winters' punk ass want to come out of hiding, he ducked me before. It's kind of hard for me to understand people that when people mislead people, it's kind of hard for me to hear what else you got to say. If like one part of you mislead people, and I know Sly talked about that. He's like, Dr. Johnson. What Dr. Johnson said about ADHD was there's no better work. If you look at his individuals, his first research, that's still good work. Now, what he did afterwards, you can judge that, but that stuff he said then is very helpful. And my point being, does it make you dislike folks? Because, if they do start saying misleading things, some ways it turns you off. Kind of turns you off from the information. But you also have to look at, the researchers, when people tend to be Pan-African, that's a type of investment. I mean, the out of Africa theory, the Europeans love that. That's the Bible shit. That ties into the Bible. That Lucy and all that shit. That ties into the Bible. Only Europeans benefit from that. We don't benefit from that. when they know that the oldest, and again, and they say, but from their own work, because again, it's just them finding this shit. We found this shit and we put it in a toaster and it says it's 2 million years old. That's really what it seems like. They just get this shit and they just put a number on it. It's kind of not believable. But the out of Africa theory benefits Europeans. It doesn't benefit melanated people. It's written for them. That's why they go so hard trying to teach you that shit. And Duane B and Dr. Winters, they advocate for that. They advocate for the lie. So it's hard for me to hear what else you got to say. As much as I like Duane B, it's hard for me to hear other shit because you're a Pan-African. And that's deceitful. That's deceitful to the American Indians. It's been proven that shit's a lie. Now, I was showing my friend, showing her when King Tut's about to be here again. I saw him last time he was here. He was here and they brought the Tut exhibit in the summer of 07, I think. Summer of 07, I'm pretty sure. So I saw that. Matter of fact, when my daughter, first time my 16-year-old came here, that's what we went to see. I don't think my younger daughter was born. Matter of fact, she couldn't have been. So this was 7 or 8. Well, my daughter was born in 6. So it's probably 9 or 10. Probably 10. And I said this before. I saw the statue of Atenaka, and it did something. It gave me some kind of download. It paralyzed me. I've got a little picture from it. So I do feel something. Like I said, I saw all that stuff. But, Atenakan statue did something to me. No doubt. No doubt. I'm in this statue's presence, and what it did to me, it didn't do to everybody else around me. It did something to me that I still can't explain. So to say there's some power in that stuff, absolutely. Absolutely. But to say that that's my aim, it's not. Again, I talk more about what's in South America and what comes from there, or just Americas in general. Too often, we hear talking about American Indians, you start thinking of these Genghis Khan people. And it's no argument to them, but this is where Genghis Khan went. That shit where Genghis Khan went all through Europe, that shit is bullshit. Genghis Khan went through fucking Alaska, went through Canada, and went down through America. And that's where you get these Plains Indians. They're relatives of the Genghis Khan people. They do the same kind of life. And it's no hatred on them, but this is where they come from. No goddamn land bridge brought them over here. They came over here during the reign of Genghis Khan because there's nothing in that area of the world. Nothing. You look for where they supposedly come from, there's nothing there. There's no natural resources. There's nothing to feed the people. There's nothing there. So it's no way it could happen the way they explain it because it's part of the world where there's nothing. Nothing, prairie grass. Nothing to sustain, to feed these people like they want you to believe. It's part of the year where you can go to Alaska. Good stuff to eat all through Alaska. Alaska connects to Canada. It's not far. There's a way you can drive from Michigan all the way to Alaska. You take I-94 all the way west. From Sacramento, you go up to, where was the Grizzlies? Vancouver. You take that highway all the way up the Pacific realm of Canada, and it goes into Australia. I would imagine that, Canada or Alaska. I would imagine if I left this time of year, if I left today and just straight drove, I can make Sacramento probably in 14 hours, 14 to 16 hours. I'd have to recalculate that, and then if I wanted to go up to Vancouver, again, you got to have a passport to go, to go to Alaska now, or go to Canada, you got to have a passport. But I bet in 4 days I could drive to Alaska this time of year. About 4 days. From where I'm at right now I only live 3 or 4 hours from Canada. So I could go straight to Canada and then go over. So, nice chill room. Yeah. Oh, thank you. So, yeah, it looks like this is where I'm going to be doing the shows. So, just getting equipment in, that's it. So as I said before, things is getting better. Takes time. Takes time, but yeah, this is where it looks like we'll be broadcasting. So find ways to sound damper this room, of course. See what the lighting is. It's just the same little IKEA lights I had before, but yeah, this is the area. Yeah. Well, I ain't really saying shit, y'all. Kind of saying the same shit over and over again. Oh, there she is. She must be at work tonight. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me. Wow. You know, I still need to get up your way. I still need a silver fork. I have silver plated forks, but I want a real silver fork. So I need to go up that way and see. They always got the spoons. Right now, they're like 30 bucks. I remember when silver little spoons was $5. They're like 30, 40 bucks. So, and my daughter's mom got a bunch of them. And I know she sold that shit because you can sell that shit by the pound. She was getting them things. She was selling them things $300-400 because her stepmother had real silver, like 4 or 5 things of real silver. And they go by the pound. And she was getting $300 or $400 for just silver. So I just wanted a fork of it. She's like, oh, I don't know where it is. I'm like, just say you ain't got the shit. Quit lying. You ain't got the shit. You ain't got to tell me you know, you ain't got the shit. You sold the shit. Okay. I'll get one on eBay. But I have silver plated ones. And I'm going to get to the point where I only eat on silver or silver plated plates. Cut that other shit off. I don't drink out of plastic, and neither should you. Steel or glass. Do not drink out of plastic. Right now, the way they give water in the plastic jugs, that shit gives a nasty taste. You got to shake that shit up. You know how it used to be? The water given in dispensers was big-ass glass ones. Now they're in that plastic, and that shit tastes like plastic. So I got where I work. That shit. You got to shake it up, or you get that plasticky taste. So most of the time, I take a gallon in there with me. Like, fuck drinking that shit they give out. Because that gallon don't taste as plasticky as this big thing tastes. That'd be some nasty shit. But yeah, so, you know, what does Sly say and Marco say? Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. It's coming. As I said, it's coming. And the message is going to be the same. You know, just because the equipment better ain't going to mean my message is going to be different. It's the same message. As I said, you know, my equipment was a few months ago up to par until my daughter killed my computer. So I could have upgraded from that. But from y'all that hung with me doing this, and actually this camera ain't bad, really. Sound ain't the greatest, but the camera ain't bad. And so, you know, because it's really the message. That's all it is. It's the message. It's not, you know, I mean, equipment makes the message better. I understand that, no doubt. But it's still the message. However the message is given to you, that's it. However the message resonates. It's just with the better equipment, the message is presented clear. And with the times, because, you know, the equipment is the times. You know? Let me share this. One of my favorite songs is now remember, Prince's music has been really tied up. And now Prince's music is released. So I just got a version. So there's a song called The Screams of Passion with the family. You know, Jerome was with that group. Jelly Bean, I think, played, you know, the drummer Jelly Bean that was with Time. I think he was actually the drummer for the family. But Prince sings, the original 12-inch that came out, Prince sings on it. I mean, it's no doubt. But what's funny is the guy from the family and Prince, their voices are very close. So they kind of echo each other in the song. You couldn't find the song if you couldn't find that version. I had the 12-inch at one time, and then I just found the version. And it's interesting hearing where Prince and this guy are singing together, but Prince clearly sings the song with the female, you know. I mean, Prince was a master writer. A robin sings a song that, how does it go? A robin sings a song that lives and dies unheard. The screams of passion. Oh, that is some pimpy song. A robin sings a song that lives and dies unheard, which goes back into if the trees fall, does it make a noise? You know? You know, this Robin sings a song to bring love into the world and bring love into his heart. And nobody responds, you know. So I always thought Book was one of his greatest works. I always did. Like this song with him and Sheena E, Love Bazaar, that's all Prince. Even though Sheena E is playing, that's Prince. Because that's what we are. We all want a love bazaar. That's Prince. I mean, yeah, it's her chopping, and she's one of the greatest drummers ever. Now, I guess let me see how much of the song I can remember. I was just singing it downstairs a few minutes ago. How'd it go? Something that I can't explain. You no longer belong to me anymore, it seems. I'm all alone in my dreams. I tried to be good. You took me to a place no other could. I simply woke and saw you was gone. Now I sing this song to you. Through the words of this song, something happened to me. You were my life, my destiny. My life will never ever be complete. Come back to me. It's you that I need, baby. It's you that I need. I'm lonely. Oh, that's enchantment. If y'all didn't know. So y'all, I'm gonna cut this. Hour and a half is good for Saturday morning. Or no, Friday night. The last super moon of the year is coming on my daughter's birthday on the 10th. So the 10th is gonna be lit. Every day I'm lit. Every day I'm lit. You can't tell me shit. Cause every day I'm lit. Oh, and I had to I feel very funny about Spain. But part of Spain I don't feel funny about is Queen Isabella. That's why I bought this shirt in honor of Queen Isabella, because she is the only people in the history of the world that put her foot in them people's ass. Queen Isabella put her foot in them people's ass. Them peoples created that shit with Hitler. That's propaganda. But Isabella put their ass on the rack. Stretch him. Tell the truth. Do you take Jesus? No. Stretch him. You know, they would put you on the rack. Or they'd put you in that room with all them spikes. Just standing there, the spikes didn't spike you. But when you started getting tired, you had to drop. And that's where they would catch you. When you drop, one of them spikes would stick in you. That's how they would kill you. So this jersey is in honor of Isabella putting her foot in the ass. Because y'all can't hide that history. She put her foot in y'all ass. The Inquisition was about y'all. But it protected them because a lot of them went into the Catholic Church. The Setos and such. Well, I got to pee, so I think I'm going to call it. But yeah, so this is where things are going, and going to work with, finding the best way to get the sound the best. So, thank you for joining me. Sing it. Yeah, oh, enchantment. Definitely enchantment. I'm lonely. Shit. What does he say? Like I said, what Michael Henderson said. Just love me and take care of me until my tension's gone. Love me and take care of me until my tension's gone. I mean, you wonder why the people like me have the pimpy words, because we listen to these songs, and these songs was all about way to share love and make people be in love with you. To hold a woman for 5 minutes and dance with her and make her follow you. There's nothing more pimpy than to ask a woman you don't know and she starts dancing with you and she follows you. That's what slow dancing is. They follow you. I'm the lead. Perfect stranger, and all of a sudden you hold her in your arms and she's following you. That don't even hardly exist anymore. But in my life, I could do that to a girl I never knew. And if I look good enough, which I, of course, did. And I'd get to hold her in my arms, and she'd move with me. You did. That don't exist no more. A woman gladly follows you. Where's romance with us? It's like no one talks about melanated romance because melanated people are supposed to be, so against each other, the men and the women. But where's the melanated romance? Who's talking about romance? Who's talking about how to enhance romance and relationships? Just love, melanated love in general. Just love in general. It's whoever you love is great. And where are the people with the words of encouragement that are in love? Seems like more people ain't in love. Even married people don't even seem like they're in love. Where are the people that are in love? Why aren't you on here talking about how you're in love? Love is supreme. And there's a lot of y'all married. Let's hear that kind of talk. You married? Let's hear the love talk. Because that's the ultimate with being married is you love this person, love. Love, unconditional love. That's what marriage is supposed to be. Unconditional love. Where's all that talk? We need more of that. More positive talk about love. So, I'm gonna put that out there. Love or above, y'all. So, I should be on here tomorrow. It's gonna rain all day, so definitely be on here tomorrow. Yeah. So this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm y'all host. I'm your host, Big Pontiac. Till we meet again, stay less.